What's up, everyone? We are back. Anthony from AB Fitness Center here. Today, we have another client transformation video, and I have on here Faith. Faith has done phenomenal. I can't wait till you guys hear her story, but she's basically down 30 pounds, over 10% body fat, 6 inches off the waist, 5 inches off the hips, like phenomenal progress. So Faith, welcome on. You're on the other side of it now. Congratulations.
Hi.
So Faith, you did phenomenal with us. I mean, you're still doing phenomenal. You're on the right path. You're moving in the right direction. So let everybody kind of hear your story. Where were you before you met AB Fitness Center?
So might have started over a year ago, but it was about a year ago. I was just in a really bad place. I had gained a lot of weight due to quarantine and other stuff, other personal stuff. And basically I was just at like my lowest point, and I was trying to lose the weight that I had gained on my own, and I couldn't. Like, I tried everything. I tried, working out, like eating right, but nothing was working. Then my dad started researching personal training places for me, like on the down low. Like, he didn't tell me about it, but he found AB Fitness, and the reviews were amazing, and I know why now. And I started with AB, and literally in the first few months I was just losing weight, like so fast. Like, it was just working with me. And now I'm 30 pounds down, over 10% body fat, inches off the waist, inches off everywhere. And I just feel so amazing and confident. And I couldn't have done it without them. Like, really, like, it sounds so cliche and cringy, but I really couldn't have done it without you guys. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, we're going to dive into your story too, because there's a lot of stuff to unpack. You told me some stuff before this that I want to get into too, because like I told you, the goal is to help somebody listening to this right now to help them get to that next level. So what were you doing before? So let's do pre-AB time. So what were you trying before? What diet were you on? What exercise were you doing? Like where were you before?
Okay, you're gonna yell at me for this, but I was doing like Chloe Ting YouTube workouts, like just really, I don't want to say stupid, but not smart workouts. I guess I was eating healthy, but my version of eating healthy was like just eating like granola and peanut butter, like a bunch of rice cakes. Like, I would never measure anything out. I would just eat all the healthy stuff and think that I was going to lose weight because I was eating healthy stuff, but I wasn't in a calorie deficit. I wasn't counting my macros. So I was just eating healthy. Like, do you know what I mean by saying eating healthy? Like granola and stuff, like, I don't find that healthy now, but I just wasn't measuring anything out, and I was just eating like a lot of healthy stuff. And you're not going to lose weight if you're eating a lot of something. You know what I mean?
Right. So how long were you kind of eating healthy? Like, how long were you trying to like, okay, I'm eating healthy, I need to lose weight? How long did that kind of last before you realized like this is not working?
I want to say it's like 3 months.
So 3 months
So
of really trying to do this kind of before you met us, and you were kind of spinning your wheels. So were you frustrated? Like, talk about how you kind of felt before.
I was so frustrated. Like, as all my friends, they all have very good bodies. Like, all of them are very skinny and just very, like, they're built right. Like, they can eat whatever they want and they won't gain weight. And with parties and dressing up, I just didn't want to go because I just felt so insecure about myself. And I just like my mind like wasn't in it. And like I said, I was going to do it, and I just didn't. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's hard to talk about now because like my mindset's so different from then, but I felt so insecure, like, that I wasn't losing weight, and I needed to lose weight. Like, I knew that I needed to lose weight, and it just wasn't working, and it was making me so angry.
Right. So
Yeah.
So you were eating all healthy stuff. A lot of people make that mistake too. It's like, okay, I'm eating really healthy. How come I'm not losing any weight? I mean, you know the answer to that now, and we'll cover that. But like you mentioned granola, and I love that because so many people, it's like, I don't understand. My breakfast is so good in the morning. I have, I have a little bit of granola. I'll have 2 whole eggs, So give everyone like, why is granola so bad? If somebody's listening to this and they're having granola and peanut butter, why is it just so bad? Like where was your mistakes? Like now you could see them. So what was your mistakes?
Because it was so high in fat. Like you can have whatever you want. You just have to have it in moderation. Like I was just like putting piles of granola on yogurt, like filling like the whole thing with yogurt because I hate yogurt. But the thing that I learned is that, yeah, you can have peanut butter. Yeah, you can have granola, but you have to measure it out. And getting a food scale was the best thing I ever could have done. Because I'm going to get into that in a second, but again, back to the granola, it's high in bad sugars, it's high in fat, it's high in like fructose and stuff like that. And same thing with peanut butter. Like I love peanut butter, but I have it in moderation. Like I have 16 grams or something like that. But I think everybody should get a food scale because the American metric system is so, like, it doesn't work, right? Like, you think that you're putting a tablespoon, but then when you really measure it out, it's like way more than a tablespoon. So, in my opinion, if you want to lose weight, you have to weigh out all your food. And it sounds so annoying, but you're going to get used to it and it's going to feel like second nature.
Right. So let's kind of cover that. I want to actually discuss that. So now your dad finds his personal training place. You get started with us. Talk about that first week because that first week is usually the hardest for most people. So you come in. Remember, now you're doing workouts online at this point. Like we already said, YouTube workouts. So talk about that first time in the gym and like getting the meal plan. Like, let's hear your first kind of week.
Okay, so getting the meal plan, I went to the supermarket right away. I got all my food. I meal prepped for that week because I go to school, so I had to meal prep. And it was hard. It was very hard to measure everything out the right way. And the first week I didn't have a food scale because I didn't know how important it was for the right measurements. So that first week it went pretty well, but it was very hard to do all the food. And I did all the cooking by myself. Nobody helped me. I do all the cooking by myself. And I was just like, it was a lot. Like I made like tins of stuff just so I could like put it into little carton container things. And my first workout, I was struggling so much. I remember that I think it was with Laura too. I remember that I was struggling so much. I was like, oh my God, this is so different from YouTube workouts, like lifting weights and stuff. But that first week was pretty hard. It was, but looking back from then to now, it's such a crazy difference.
So I want to talk about actually, we'll pivot back to the diet in a second. I want to talk about the workout. So you thought you were working out before, and you kind of just said that. You thought you were working out before doing these YouTube videos and having like hard workouts. But explain to the person listening to this right now, the difference between doing a real workout and doing what you were doing before.
What I was doing before is like nothing like a real workout. Like it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like I'm getting so much more out of weight training than I was with the YouTube workouts because it was like 10, 15 minutes. And that's what I wanted to say. You can't pinpoint where you want to lose weight and where you want to lose fat. You have to lose it all around. And weight training helps you and makes you lose weight and fat all around. Like the YouTube workouts said, do this if you want abs, do this if you want to lose weight in your legs. You can't do that. You can't pinpoint where you want to lose weight and fat. And I think that was the biggest difference.
Right.
So
now you're doing full body workouts. I mean, you're probably doing things like that you've never would have thought you would have had to do to lose body fat, right?
Yeah, like my whole life have been told you have to do cardio if you want to lose weight. If you want to gain weight, you have to weight train. No, that is so wrong. And whenever people say that to me, oh yeah, I'm doing cardio right now. No, you can't just do cardio to lose fat and weight. Like it doesn't look right. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the difference between somebody who only does cardio and only does weight training, or weight training and cardio, like there's such a difference. Like
Right.
when you only do cardio, I don't want to bash on people that only do cardio, but when you only do cardio, you kind of look skinny fat. You don't look
Exactly.
toned. Like it's not a good look. Like,
Right. It's true. It's
so
very, very true. And because you end up losing too much muscle mass. When you do cardio like that, you lose muscle. And that's going to make you flabbier in the long run. So, during your journey, and everybody always talks about like the pounds on the scale, like, oh, she lost 30 pounds, 10% body fat. That's great. But the 10% body fat is like the most important thing. So you've actually lost fat and gained muscle. Now, most women here gained muscle. Like, oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to be bulky. Talk about what that gained muscle means to you now, Faith.
I look so toned in pictures when somebody's taking, okay, so for example, I was at an event, and I'm not going to say what event it was, I'll tell you after, but I was at an event and there was a photographer, and we were, taking pictures as we were like walking out and just dancing and everything. And I looked toned, like you could see my muscles, like most people, like if it was a year ago and like all that fat was on me, or all that like whatever was on me, like you wouldn't see my muscles, you'd see fat, like you'd see fat flapping around. And I'd rather look toned and like not being muscular, but gaining muscle makes you look toned and
Right.
makes you look like those Instagram models or those magazine models that
Right.
everybody wishes that they looked like. So when women think that, oh, weight training will make me look too muscular, no, it won't. You don't have enough testosterone for that, first off. Second off, it'll make you look toned. Like it just makes you look better.
Right. It's so funny because most of those people on Instagram or YouTube, they don't tell you how they weight train, prior. And the workout that you're copying them doing on YouTube is something that they just do just because for views.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what it comes down to. It's crazy. The fitness world in general is full of like crazy myths and stuff.
Exactly. And another thing, I enjoy weight training. I did not enjoy doing those Chloe Ting YouTube workouts at all. Like I dreaded it. Like it was the worst. I keep saying sorry. But it was the
So
worst.
what about weight training now that we've exposed you to weight training, and now you're actually doing movements like deadlifts, squats, bench press, why do you like that stuff versus, the other stuff? Like why is it so different? And why do you like it so much more?
This is more the scientific side, but when you weight train, your endorphins, which make you happier, they come out or whatever. Like I read that somewhere, and it just makes you happier and more energized for your day. And I love weight training because it's not, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a better feeling than running on a treadmill for an hour, or because you're doing different things and you're
Right.
experiencing different like types of workouts and stuff.
Right.
And it
And
just makes you feel so much better afterwards too.
awesome. And I agree. So what area of your body, Faith, do you feel like morphed the most?
Um,
And I know this question is kind of difficult to answer, for everybody, because every person is different. Literally, we have some women who will lose it around the waist first, and then their arms are like kind of lag behind. So, but for you, where do you feel like the area that kind of changed the most?
I think definitely my stomach and my arms. My legs too, a lot. That muscle like on your thigh, like on the side of it,
Yeah.
like that sticks out now, and it looks so cool in like dresses and stuff. But aside from that, definitely my arms and my stomach, 100%.
It's so
100%.
funny too. It's like most people think like, okay, and you said it before. You're like, okay, I was doing this ab video on YouTube, and it turns out that you lost the most around your midsection when you didn't do any of those videos and you just focused on what works, which is actually the weight training and the dieting. So
Exactly.
one of the,
And also another thing, my whole life, I've struggled with arm fat, and weight training just changed my arms so much. Like, I didn't know that my arms could do that, because I thought like my whole life, oh, I was born like this, so I can't change them. But they really changed a lot. Like, they look so much better now.
and Faith, this is just the beginning. You know, one of the, that's
Yeah.
the cool part about this all. You're very early on in your journey. You've made a lot of progress so far, but it's just the beginning, because what's going to start to happen is now you have that, and I explain this all the time to people, but you get like that compound effect from everything. It's like you start to build these habits, and these habits just start compounding on each other, and you start to make more and more progress. And the cool thing is, one of the things that I wanted to get into talking with you about is that, you know, we started you on a certain amount of, you know, protein, carbs, and fats, and you lost this body fat and gained this muscle, and we actually increased your eating. So let's talk about the difference. I mean, you know, you mentioned like before, like the foods and the granola and the peanut butter, but now let's kind of reverse back to that first thing. Okay, it's your first week. You went on, you meal prepped the first week. What was like so game changing for you when it comes to the nutrition end of it?
It's that I can eat whatever I want and just stay in my macro count for the day. I
Did you
think that's the
believe me
best
when
thing
I
I've
told
ever.
you that?
No, I didn't. I was like, what? I was like, huh? Like, how am I gonna lose weight if I'm eating like ice cream or whatever? But the thing about the nutrition part is that you have to find healthier foods and recipes for the foods that you love, you know, and you have to know how to be creative. You have to be very creative. And it takes a lot of dedication, but trust me, if I did it, you could do it too. Like, and that's I'm not really a stubborn person, but when it came to fitness, I was like, this isn't gonna help me, like, you know. But you have to be very creative with your foods, and just go on Instagram or TikTok and find like cool recipes and just critique them and flexibility them into like your own way, you know?
Right. Yeah, Faith is what I call her the recipe queen. She's always, we have a private Facebook group, and she's always posting up these cool, like you made that brownie thing yesterday or the other day, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was really good.
So you
And
get
I
pretty
also,
creative with your food.
yeah, I do. I get very creative. It's because I have a very wide imagination. That's who I am as a person. So if you put like a few, and that's how my grandma was too. Like, this is so off topic, but that's how my grandma was too. Like, if you put literally like 3 ingredients in front of her, she can make a whole meal out of it. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I am. But that's how I am as a person.
So for you, do you like having, so basically we teach people something called flexible dieting, which means basically your body doesn't know the difference between foods, it just sees the amount. So as long as you're hitting your protein, your carbs, and your fat for the day, it doesn't matter. Like Faith said, you know, eating ice cream is no different than eating granola. It's all about factoring those things in. So when was kind of that moment in time where you're like, holy crap, he was not lying to me, like this actually works? Like, when did that kind of click for you?
I think it was like 4 months in. Honestly, I think it was 4 months in, because I was meal prepping and stuff, and it was just like so hard. And then I went online for school, and I was like, I'm home. I don't really need to meal prep because I'm going to be home. So I was like, oh, like, I want to try this recipe. I saw these recipes on TikTok, and I was like, oh, as long as I'm fitting it in my macros for the day, then I'm fine, right? I asked you that. I remember asking you that. And you were like, yeah. I was like, oh. I was like, what? And that was just a game changer for me, because now and this is gearing in towards cheat meals and whatever. I don't want cheat meals anymore. In the
Good.
beginning, in the beginning, when I thought that I had to restrict myself, that's when I wanted cheat meals. But now I'm eating what I want, when I want, just staying in my macro count for the day. I don't want cheat meals. Like, I was at the event the other day, and there was a whole buffet like of things, and I was like, I don't want this. Like, I don't like, I'm not going to enjoy it, and I'm going to feel like shit afterwards. Sorry.
It's okay. You're
Afterwards.
allowed to tell the truth. It's okay.
I was like, I'm going to feel like shit afterwards. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. And it could set you back like a week and a half at
Yep.
most. Like, it can set you back, and it's not worth it. I used to think it was worth it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was in that stage where I thought that it was worth it, which was around like Christmas time. But now I'm like, I don't even want it.
Right. And I think that that's like the part that like makes people like a little bit confused, because usually you go on a diet, let's just say keto, for example. So it's like, okay, you're on keto. Now you can't have carbs. It's like, as soon as I take things away, you're like, oh my God, I want carbs all of a sudden. But now with flexible dieting and how we teach you how to do this, now you actually have to sit there and think, well, do I actually want this avocado right now? Or do I want to save my fat and have it for something else later? Like, and making that conscious choice really makes you decide, like, hey, do I actually want this? Because I'm sure if you wanted some of the food at the event, like the buffet thing, you could have factored it in, but you chose in that moment of time, like, I don't want it. It's just not appealing to me. And that right there is setting yourself up for huge wins in the future, because now you're going to develop a healthier relationship with food. Most people who follow diets for extended period of times have a very bad relationship with food because they demonize certain foods. Okay, this food is bad, so I can't have this food. And then as soon as you take that away, now you're like, whoa, well, now it doesn't matter but now you're actually asking yourself, like, do I actually want this, or am I just eating it because? And that's a big, big difference. That's a big milestone moment for you.
Yeah, and another thing is I used to be a binge eater. So, and that's a very unhealthy relationship with food, and it's not good for your mental health either. I used to be a big binge eater, and I think that's also why I gained a lot of weight in that 1 year. But I'm not anymore, like, because I eat what I want. And I don't restrict myself. And ever since I started with AB, I've never binged ever again. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
and it feels better too. Yeah.
That's huge, Faith. That's awesome. I mean, because a lot of people struggle with that. Do you mind if we go down that road and talk about that a little bit?
No, I don't mind. Yeah, we can.
So this was obviously before coming to us. So was that because you were restricting yourself so much before?
I think it was because, like, I would come home from a party or out with my friends, and I would just feel so bad about myself because of how good my friends looked. And I always used to compare myself, but I'll get into that in a second. I used to always compare myself to my friends and stuff. So I would just like come home from an event, a party, a hangout, whatever, and I would just like sit in my kitchen and just eat and eat and eat, and I wouldn't stop. Like, it was just, and it was real, and I would feel like shit the next day, and I wouldn't, and then I didn't eat the next day. Like, that's another thing. Like, I didn't eat the next day. It was really bad. It was really bad. And nobody knew what was going on. Like, no one knew, not even my parents. It was bad.
And how long did this go on for? Like, how long did you suffer with this for?
I want to say a little bit over a year ago. Yeah, a little bit over a year ago.
Yeah, and I mean that's big, and you've overcome that, which is crazy. So kind of let's talk about that. So right before you started with us, you were going through these cycles of binging, and then you started with us. What kind of was that moment where it's like, okay, I don't feel like I need to binge anymore? Was it because you had the flexibility, or?
I think it was because what did I want? Did I want that cookie? Did I want to sit down and eat all that junk? Or did I want to feel confident in myself and how I look? And that was the moment where I realized, like, I can't be doing this anymore if I want to reach my goals. And when you reach your goals, you have to be very disciplining with yourself at first, and then it becomes easier. So I wanted to get over that discipline, and I just wanted it to be easier already. So I changed my whole ways. Like, I literally changed my whole ways. And I don't want to say that one day I just woke up and decided to change myself for the better, but I did. I really did. I woke up and I guess I was like in bed and I was like, what am I doing with myself? You know, I want to change for the better. I want to be a better person and I want to feel like a better person. So
That's
I
great.
really just, and you guys helped me so much. Like, it's crazy.
That's great. So what would you say is like, so we'll go back to, I want to go back now to your first week of like starting with us. So nutrition wise, like the workouts, obviously you were very sore the first week, but like you also mentioned in the beginning with the nutrition. So if someone's just starting with us now and they're watching this, what would be your biggest tip that you would give them for success right off the bat?
For the first 2 months, meal prep so that you know like serving sizes, say you don't have a food scale, so that you know serving sizes, so that you know what's good and what you can incorporate. And then after the 2 months, start experimenting with meals and start experimenting with food. And it honestly becomes fun at that point when you're experimenting with food.
It does, it
And
does.
and you have to be very consistent. And I'm not kidding, track everything. Like track everything.
And what would
It
you
just
tell someone who would tell you like, ah, that sounds like it's too much work to track everything?
trust me, it at first it might seem like a lot of work, but it becomes second nature. It became second nature to me. Like I don't eat anything without tracking it. Like sometimes I'll plan my days, but sometimes I'll just go along, but I'll always track, even if I'm over that day. You know what? You can be over, but take it out of the next day. Like
Right.
yesterday, I had 28 grams of fat. Today, I'm having 42 because I'm putting yesterday's into today. So now I'm going to have peanut butter with my oatmeal.
It's so funny what
So,
excites people after a while. It's like when you start to fit, and
yeah.
you'll see, like I said, this is just the beginning of your journey. Once we hit to you, and I want to talk about your goals in a second, but like once you hit your actual goal where you're like, wow, I'm really satisfied where you're at, the next step is to really maximize your metabolism and really start to now be able to take your new maintenance weight, but hold that weight while increasing your calories. But it's so funny
Mhm.
because then you start to like, oh my God, I can have peanut butter today. I fit it in. Like you kind of find these little ways to fit these things in. It makes it so much funnier.
Yeah. So my goals are that I want to lose 5 more pounds and I want to lose about 5% more body fat.
Okay, good. Awesome.
Um, yeah,
Good.
that's my
And
goals
now,
for now.
now that you've started with us and you have us kind of in your corner, are you a lot more confident to be able to kind of set these goals and actually achieve them?
Yes. Yes. Achieving them was the biggest accomplishment for me right now at the moment. My parents so proud of me when I see people that I haven't seen since a year ago today. They're like, "Oh my God, like you look amazing." And it feels so good to hear that. And also, I don't know if you know this, but on Snapchat, the memories come up from a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. A year ago today, like my friends will send me videos and they're like, Faith, you look so different. Like they're like no offense, but you look so different. And I'm like, I know, like, and I feel so different. A lot of people don't have the mindset and don't have the consistency and dedication that I did. And I'm telling you, like, I used to not have the dedication. Like, I would go on diets, off diets, on diets, off diets. But once you realize, like, you have to stay dedicated and consistent, it's gonna work for you. Like, I've seen a lot of people try and just fail miserably because they don't have help from trainers. And my biggest, like, um, what's the word? What's the word? My biggest advice is that you need a personal trainer to really help you. That's
So
really,
what advice would you give someone who's listening to this right now, who's like on the fence with starting? What would you tell them?
it's worth it. It's if you think it's not, it is. It really is. Getting the help and getting the discipline from your trainers, it it will really just set you above and beyond. Like if you want to learn on your by yourself, like that's fine, but the personal trainers will help you and discipline you if you do something wrong. Like, you're going to say that you're going to discipline yourself, but then you're going to wake up the next day and you're going to be back to the same. Yeah, go right.
Exactly. Faith, listen, I want to tell you, from the bottom of my heart, truly, you are the reason why we do what we do, because you truly have, like, I'm listening to you talk and I'm like, it sounds like mini me. And I love that. I love that. That's amazing. And I'm super proud of you because you've developed amazing habits that are just going to stick with you long term. Like, just hearing you kind of overcoming binging, that's huge. Most people never overcome that. And you've overcome that. You have a different relationship with food now. It's a different outlook to everything. I'm super, super proud of you. And you should be very, very proud of yourself too. Most people make the excuses that they can't do it. I just can't do it. Work.
That used to be me. That used to be me. Now I'm like telling people you can do it. You can.
Exactly. And you just have to have that will inside of you to want it. And like, your biggest tip was basically, getting a food scale and just going through it. And I think that that's really, really key. So Faith, I'm super proud of you, and you should be very, very proud of yourself. And remember what I'm telling you right now, this is just the beginning, because when this video pops up in your memories 1 year from now, you're going to say, wow, I can't believe I look so much different than when I did that video. So super proud of you, Faith. Thank you so much for coming on. Any final words you want to leave everybody with?
My last quote is that discipline yourself now so you can reward yourself later.
Oh, I like that one. Amazing. Amazing. That was a good one. That was a really good one. All right, guys. Well, if you're interested in following up and actually getting started, just click that link below in the description. It's a free 15-minute phone call with us. So this way we can dive into your goals in more detail and help you like the same way we help Faith. But Faith, thank you so much for coming on. And again, like I told you, I'm super proud of you.
Thank you for having me.